We are live. We will get at least one viewer, probably.
Is
Straight
your
away.
mom joining again? No. Yeah.
Same wife from Melbourne. So
Cause she's
so apparently she gets a notification when we go live.
oh
Mm. So hey Sam, if you just got on.
no, not yet. I'll let you know when she does.
Okay. All right, you got the troll room there.
I do have the troll room.
All right, so it's going to be a bit of a crazy one. Let's try to keep it short. Won't waffle on too much. And I just got the notification on my watch.
Great.
Great. All right. I can tell you can't wait to get started, Calvin.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Okay, so I'm all queued up over here.
So we'll go with Mac rumors and then on to facial recog.
Sure. Okay.
Intro already?
Intro is ready. Oh God. That intro
That one.
that I'm gonna stuff up. The one that I'm gonna stuff up. You know me too well. I did have something in my head, but I've already forgotten. Uh oh God, what was it? what happened today? Did anything happen today?
The world didn't end?
It's true. Or did it?
Mm.
Which world? Which of the three worlds?
Oh, I see. Oh, you caught
On
up. You
oh,
little
oh, okay.
oh.
Hey.
Hey, you caught up.
Maybe I'll just say that. Maybe I'll just say,
I just finished it.
oh shit.
I
Sorry.
just finished. No, I finished it.
I thought you finished it ages
No,
ago.
I just finished it. So this is good. Thank God.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Wow. Oh my
God.
God. No, you said you were watching the last episode like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, dude, I have kids. It takes me like
Took you that
three
long.
3 weeks to
Okay.
watch the last episode.
All right. Well, hopefully no one's watching this. But they don't know what we're talking about yet,
No, they
probably,
don't. They
hopefully.
don't.
Um, I'll say, God, I've forgotten the name. It's slightly
Hmm.
slightly spoilery. It's okay. It's okay. I think you have like you only know it if you know it, so it's not spoiling anything. Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yep, let's go.
Okay, three. Okay, what are we with the naked tech? Oh, fucking cat. She's about to jump up, get all twitchy. Get it, Twitch? Yeah.
Ha.
Um. Oh shit. That was my mistake. Okay. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. What are we? Naked Tech Podcast.
150 something something.
And 151. 151.
Alrighty, don't.
We just did a 150. I think the next one's 151. All right, three and a two and a one. Hello and welcome to the Naked Tech Podcast. It's the show that gives you everything. I didn't say the episode number. I probably shouldn't have, but I was wary of it. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Otherwise it was fine, wasn't
It
it?
was great.
I was just wary that I didn't. Huh?
You're thinking about it too
Okay.
much.
Okay, I know. Three and a two and a one. Hello and welcome to episode 151 of the Naked Tech Podcast. It's the show that gives you everything you need to know about consumer tech, the internet, and all things Jonas and Martha. I'm your friend Jeff Kim.
My name is Calvin Lee, and I've got a new widget on my phone.
Widget? Oh no, you didn't.
It's a big deal.
Oh no, you didn't.
It's a big deal.
On your primary phone.
On my daily driver, as the cool kids call it.
Wow.
It's a big
Has
deal
it
because
kind of puffed it already?
you and I spoke about this when, they announced that the iOS 14 will allow widgets on your phone. And you start every day, and it's got to be useful, it's got to look good, and it's got to work well. And the last time you asked me what widget was on my homepage, and the only one I had was weather and time, really. I've got a new one to help sort out my life a little bit. It's called TickTick. It's a to-do list for Android. I think Android only. Let me just double check that. I've basically been looking for a way to sort of manage my life a little bit. but I wanted to be reminded daily of
That
the
helps.
things I had to do. So it's
Mm,
on iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and Android as well. And the reason why I picked it was it's got the best widget for Android as far as I can tell. Lots of settings, lots
mm,
of customizations. The tricky thing for me is I wanted it to have opacity settings so I could see the picture of my kids behind the widget. So that was
mm.
important. So far, I'm loving it. What are you using at the moment to do checklists and to-do lists and whatnot? Anything at all, or is it just not
I
your
have
thing?
been to the N one.
Oh,
What's
Notion.
what's the N one called again? Notion.
Oh, that could
Yes,
have gone horribly
yes.
wrong.
I've been using it so much that I've forgotten. I'll just have the icon on my. Actually, it's on my tray. It's on my primary tray as the cat
Ooh,
jumps up to the desk.
that's
But
big
I'm
for
not
you.
using it at all.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
not using it.
something's on your camera. That's hilarious. Um,
It's a big tail.
and this is why you have to watch our Twitch stream because a tail just went past Jeff's screen and I freaked out because
It was just a big black thing.
yeah.
The tail. Okay. The tail of my cat. All
Okay.
right. She's just lying down. Okay. Hopefully she's not going to disturb the show any further. Um, but yes, I actually thought that when you said that, you loaded iOS 14 on your
Oh,
iPhone that you might have lying around,
I
but that wasn't the
I
case.
think I do have a 6 or 7 lying somewhere around, but
Well,
no.
this is what I found out as well. I revived my 6. I thought it was a 6S actually.
Hmm.
And I went all the way to signing up for the beta.
Hmm.
I actually downloaded the profile. I was going to talk about it on the show tonight, but didn't get there. So no widgets for me. Unless I do it on my iPad, I probably won't get the beta because, yeah, at this stage, I probably won't put it on my primary device.
Yeah, I've been burnt in the past with Mac OS Catalina putting on my work computer
Mm.
about a year ago, and I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, and as my cat drinks my water, you can't see it, but she's like totally drinking my water now. Um, she's got her own tray of water. Uh, we got a fun show tonight.
Hmm. I think we're going to
Um,
start off easy. We're going to look into a couple of
okay,
rumors, a couple of Mac things, and then we're going into the kind of things that you love. And we're going to look into,
something a bit dark,
ooh,
perhaps,
might be.
maybe for another show.
You're gonna have to stay tuned to the show and to find out what we're gonna be deep diving into later in the show.
All right, what do you got? MacBook rumors.
So, everyone's favorite analyst, Ko Chi-min. We all know that at last month's WWDC, Apple announced that it was going to move from Intel to their own chips. And it looks like we know what we are going to be getting. We're going to be getting a 13.3 MacBook Pro, similar to the MacBook Pro now, but it will get the ARM-based chip. This will launch in late 2020 or early 2021. So that's the first one.
Mhm.
I'm quite surprised they're going with the MacBook Pro because will this give Adobe, Microsoft enough time to move their software across? I think it's big because the pros are for, well, pros.
They've already got some things in some state of release, I think, releasable state. So I mean, I'm sure they've been working with them. They've got Microsoft on board. They demoed Office stuff on it already. Not sure if they were quite 365, but they definitely showcase some of the things you could do on Word as we traditionally used to do on our own devices now on the cloud. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other side of that is it'll be using Big Sur, which is the new Mac OS 11 officially. And if these are running AMD, or what they're calling Apple Silicon chips, there will be definitely be 11.
Hmm.
So we said it last time during the Apple event show that the MacBook Pros and the MacBooks that are going to come out without silicon, they will remain to be Mac OS 10.
Oh, so the Intel ones will be
Yeah,
macOS 10 and the ARM silicon chips are going to be 11.
that's right. Yeah,
Got you.
but yes, but still named Big Sur. So that's the weird thing. So there's two versions of Big Sur, and this is kind of expected, and this is the way Apple does their thing through their developer programs, and we talked about that quite a bit last time. Um, so Big Sur, I've been looking into Big Sur, and something that I didn't quite talk about last time. was the designs
Mm.
of Big Sur. So, we've in the early days of the Naked Tech, back then called the Lazy Couch, I think we did go through the iOS 7 change. Is that right? Or was that before we started the podcast?
No, we definitely did go through a
So
whole, the design sort of thinking behind one of the iOSs.
mm. So there was pre-iOS 7, and iOS 7 is the big sort of change in design when Johnny Ives came and did his thing, made everything flat. And if you remember, everything was called, well, there was a term that not everyone, but a lot of people in the industry use, which is skeuomorphism,
Mm-hmm.
which pretty much is, I guess, I'm just going to read out the definition here. Skeuomorphism, it kind of simulated real life textures, like leather and the poker table. We saw a lot of that pre iOS 7 onto digital interfaces. And then, Johnny Ive came and changed everything, made everything flat, sort of more like a layered flat UI, they called it. And I think people are talking about this new way of Big Sur introducing this new design trend or pattern. It's been talked about in the circles, in design circles, quite a bit. Even earlier this year as well, and they're calling it neomorphism or neomorphism.
Interesting.
Yes, and I'm going to play a clip from a YouTube channel I discovered, Computer Clan, and this is what's his name, Crazy Ken, and some of his thoughts on that.
Apple for a long time has had this flatter look, and I think it's fair to say Microsoft pushed that a lot with their Windows style. Everything got really flat. So Apple started doing this flat thing, right? But they used to do this skeuomorphic look, more three-dimensional look, and it looks like they're trying to combine that stuff now, but for some of these graphical elements, they kind of sit in the uncanny valley. There's this awkward spot between skeuomorphic 3D and flat.
Right, so people are also calling this soft UI. So you're going to be hearing this quite a bit, I feel like. I think it'll translate to iOS at some stage as well, probably iOS 15, not quite on 14 just yet. And when Apple starts a trend, everyone follows. So we're going to be seeing these awful drop shadows, which I like. I just hate them. And of course, it's a difficult thing to talk about on an audio podcast. But if you are tuning into Twitch, Kelvin, I think there's an article you could link to, which shows off some of that neomorphism. So think of it like it's not quite replicating, actual like remote controls, but putting these sort of shadows into the design. You can see it on the screen right there. I don't know. I hope they don't overdo this because it feels fairly clear that with Big Sur that there's a movement towards that, especially like the Messages app. So I think you've probably seen how the app icons have gone from they were quite skeuomorphic in a way, but then they put like a that rounded edge corner to it, to every icon now. So there's a bit more shadow, and I think the danger of putting shadows is really like, someone has to decide what direction the light source is. Like, is it always going to be that top left corner, and the shadow
That's right.
going down to the bottom right? What about the problem of the height of that? Like, you're going to see these crazy different styles. Yeah, so I think this is going to be hard to manage, and I just feel like we're going backwards. But
I also
here we are. Yeah.
wonder, like, adding shadows gives it a third dimension really. And because you stare at your phone so much, is it giving your mind a lot more to process from a cognitive perspective? Like, flat is simple,
Mm.
flat is easy. My brain doesn't have to do so much thinking around, is there actual depth here? Is there actual, light here? So it'd be interesting to see whether, how that messes with our mind a little bit and whether it just takes up too much cognitive space in our heads. Going slightly off tangent here, but, some people might find it annoying.
Well, I'm going to find it annoying, and I think this was a criticism when we went to flat UI, right? There was a period of time where like people preferred the shadows and things looking like they were like pressable. And we're sort of going back towards that. And again, I feel like Apple's starting this trend. I know with flat UI, perhaps Windows or Microsoft started that trend, but yeah, we're going to be seeing this all over the place. So in the next couple of years, like buttons on controls won't be just like a circle or a square or an oblong. There'll be some definition of height, and I just feel like this is a dangerous path, because some button's going to be taller. Maybe it'll be the war of making things taller so that you can press it harder.
Hey, maybe
So,
there is a psychological reason behind this neumorphism. Does it make you want to press the button? Because it's kind of like bubble wrap, right? You kind of see it there. You kind of want to go for it all the time. Like, does this do the same thing?
so suggesting a bit of a dark pattern thing here,
I
Kelvin,
might be,
perhaps?
but we'll never know till we actually see
Yeah.
what, the end product looks like.
Yeah. So like if you sort of Google this on the internet, you're gonna see a bunch of criticisms on it. Designers aren't. I think you're gonna probably see mixed reactions, but I think most of Reddit and Twitter is sort of against this right now. But yeah, it's just a matter of time before we see it on our phones. We see it on Android. That's going to happen too. So watch this space. Speaking of perhaps things going backwards, Facebook. In particular, Facebook Reality Labs, which is like a research lab under the Oculus umbrella, I guess. They've released. Oh, there was a computer graphics conference called SIGGRAPH. So conferences are still happening online, like we talked about, and they talked about. Maybe I'll just play the clip. This is from Upload VR.
A new prototype for a slimline headset has just been revealed. As you can see, it's a little bit more like sunglasses than your usual headset. This sleeker, more compact look is down to a new optical design Facebook calls a holographic near-eye display. The prototype instead employs holographic optics. With this design, researchers believe they can support the same kind of field of view that you see in today's VR headsets, instead using a thin film only 9mm deep.
Yep, they're calling it holographic VR. And if you can see the Twitch stream, they literally look like sunnies.
They do.
So remember, this is VR, not AR. And so Upload VR is talking about how lightweight it is. Apparently, the display module is going to be only 18 grams. And compare that to the Quest, which is over half a kilo. But of course, it doesn't take into account of the lack of the tracking system, because no one really knows how you're going to be tracked. There's no onboard processing just yet. It's just a display, and there's no battery. So this is completely conceptual for now, but still very lightweight, and maybe it's the future.
Yeah, I mean, you need the batteries. There's still going to be wires somewhere. If they want to keep it lightweight, that's fine. But making it completely wireless without a battery pack is not going to happen, obviously. So pros and cons, right?
Sure, and graphic wise, it's apparently just the green screen version of VR or holographic VR. So I don't know. I guess you can kind of liken it to the holograms in Star Wars for now, because that's pretty, lo-fi display if you think about it. In the distant future of Star Wars, they could only do blue holograms. Yeah, but I think this obviously this is years away from being in the hands of consumers. I feel like it's like if they can provide that display in that lightweight format, take up is obviously going to increase. Did you also know that Oculus Go was discontinued last month?
But yeah, I read about that, and that makes sense. They're going to have to focus on the Quest. They've only got limited resources, and the Quest is the way to go.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this year with my Oculus Rift, I'll probably use it a couple of times for Alex, which I sort of haven't gone back into for a while, despite it being the greatest ever VR game. I mean, and you probably haven't been on ever.
No, I just don't have the
Right.
space for it right now. And I think that's where, the systems like, the Quest and, all that will come in. I believe Samsung is also ending its VR program because, what can Samsung really offer at the moment in the current battle of the VR big juggernauts like Oculus and HTC Vives of the world? I think, it's a good move.
Yeah, I think the big players are actually focusing on AR more than VR. I think with this Oculus version or Facebook version, I feel like there's somewhere along the way that the two are going to merge. AR, there's going to be like an AR mode and a VR mode, but that's still at least 5 years away. All right, so let's go a little bit dark, Kelvin.
Not the Netflix show.
We're going to be spending maybe 10 or 15 minutes on facial recognition technology and how it's being used. So I've actually been saving this story for the last couple of episodes. We just didn't get to them in a way, but like obviously a few things have happened in 2020. One of which is BLM movement, and people are being targeted by surveillance methods by the police. One of those is facial recognition. And I guess this has risen up some of the criticisms of how this can be used and manipulated in the wrong hands, I suppose, although you can't really say the police are the wrong hands. Depends who you talk to, I guess, right now. But so 2 weeks ago, I believe, a bunch of companies came out and they said they're not going to work on these technologies anymore. I've just got a clip from TechLinked.
Microsoft has said it will stop providing its facial recognition technology to the American police forces until federal regulation can be enacted concerning its use. With the announcement, Microsoft joins Amazon, which said it will also stop selling its facial recognition tech to police for 1 year, and IBM, which said it's pausing all development on facial recognition wholesale. The company's decisions are reportedly based on studies ongoing since 2018, which show that facial recognition systems performed worse when analyzing women and people with darker skin. And obviously, that's really bad.
Yeah, so the number one criticism of this is that there's this natural bias just from the mere fact that people that are working on this technology probably not as diverse as you would like, as the real world. So yeah, I think just this week it emerged that Detroit police arrested someone last year based on a wrongfully identified, issue. And we won't go into that so much, but that's just to highlight, there probably are use cases here, but facial ID, like every technology, is not perfect, so you're gonna get these errors.
Yeah, and
what do you know about that? Yeah,
it's a tough one because we're all so different, and it's gonna take time for technology to catch up. And the technology is one aspect, but its usage of it is another. It's a good old, if we could, should we still use it? And we're good, the police forces all over the world currently are under a lot of scrutiny, obviously, and we're all gonna not trust it as much. Not because technology is poor, I think. It's always down to the usage and what people use it for. And because it's such a tense, global sort of movement that is Black Lives Matters right now, I would definitely stay away from these things, just to avoid any chance of, arresting the wrong person or identifying the wrong person. There's just too much risk at the moment.
and you got to wonder if it's going to work with everyone wearing masks. Well, soon to be in Australia wearing masks. So I came across this amazing report by CNBC of all channels, and I think it's about a 20-minute clip, and I've put it in the show notes for everyone to see because I think it's worthwhile. The media can get hung up on the big words, right? It's like, oh my God, AI, facial recognition, police state, dangerous, like all those emotional elements that come out of the media. But here is, CNBC, and I'm gonna credit the reporter here. Her name is Katie Brigham. She really broke it down, told both sides of the story, interviewed the people or the companies that are actually in this market, which is facial ID for police surveillance. Now, here is one of the CEOs of one of the companies, and he's going to kind of lay it down to some of these big big companies that have made some statements in the past.
So first off, IBM did not have a real product in this space. Microsoft and Amazon, neither of them were big players in the law enforcement space. They did not have a large line of business there. So one could call it a bit of virtue signaling.
After announcing a year-long moratorium on police use of its facial recognition software, called Recognition, Amazon says it doesn't know how many police departments actually use it.
Yeah, so one of the big things is that, yes, this technology does exist and, obviously big companies are working on it, but in reality, they're not the biggest players in the market. And if anything, there's no real governance. Like there's no list. You can't ask someone, hey, out of the so many hundreds of police departments in the US, how many of them are using what technology? Like that doesn't exist apparently, which seems a bit sad. So Rank One is one of the companies, but another one is Clearview AI, who have been on the news quite a bit this year. So I don't think I talked about the CEO of this company, who's an Australian former male model.
Right, that's going to
And
start off
there
well.
was a big write-up. Well, this is how he was portrayed in this New York Times article back in January, and it sort of really irked me at the time because it was a very typical on the surface interview. AI is bad, down with technology type of sentiments, without really looking at what's actually going on. So here is actually, I don't know if he's in this clip. His name is it's a Vietnamese name, Hoan Ton That.
Mm-hmm.
You can see him on the screen there. You can kind of tell he was a former male model, I guess.
Really?
Can you?
What
I
do
don't
we
know.
know about male models?
He's got long hair.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so let me just play a clip from that story.
Founded in 2017, Clearview has amassed a database of over 3 billion images, scraped from millions of websites and social media platforms from Venmo to Facebook. Its catalog is far more comprehensive than anything that came before it, and the company says it's used by over 2,400 law enforcement agencies in the US at the local, state, and federal levels.
Yep, so by far the biggest player in this market. 2,400 reportedly. I guess they have relationships with those law enforcement departments, and they're very clear that they're using it. So it's just a big database of images. They said 3 billion. I guess that's growing over time, and very quickly they can identify based on some input. You could scans through the database to come up with similar faces, essentially. And in the report, they did a demo. So just to illustrate how this technology works, it's pretty simple if you break it down. So here's a bit of an insight into that.
The Clearview system itself does not reveal my name, but the links point to websites that do. While Google, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook have all sent cease and desist letters to Clearview, the company says that because these images are public, it has a right to compile them.
At the end of the day, it's a search engine just like Google. So we think it's a little bit hypocritical of them to then send a cease and desist. But fundamentally, it is publicly available information.
Okay, so a couple of things there. So all it is a Google image search that's very focused with faces. And Google themselves are actually trying to stop them. So all of these images, all these faces are being scraped from, billions of websites, including, Twitter and social media. And these have been marked as public, so it can get into it. So there's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
So this is crazy, right? Why are we trying to stop this?
Exactly. I mean, do people, I don't know, I guess, do people really understand what happens when they share a photo on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Pinterest?
And I think, we're all guilty of it. I don't have kids, but my example is I share photos of my cat. So it's not the same thing, but I don't know if I would share photos even on Instagram of my kids, knowing what I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not sure if making your account private is going to change anything, just like mine is at the moment. I guess, you kind of feel a little more secure. But could I tell you what the terms and conditions are of my Instagram account? I probably couldn't. Could people still index my photos on a private Instagram account? I have no idea.
Well, according to what this guy is saying, it should be private to this service because it is, you've set it as private. But yeah, like obviously there are. What if Instagram was hacked one day and there was a public place where everything was just dumped into? So yeah, I think people are sort of getting away from, like, technology is not that difficult, or at least difficult to understand if you just break it down and try to understand what it is. So it's more about education than just stopping everything. Because yeah, we're not going to be able to progress without this sort of stuff. I mean, AI is going to happen unless you're the Unabomber. You can't really stop these things from coming to light, right? So yeah, it is a question of ethics, like you said, because we can, should we?
Yeah, and it comes
in this case, I think we should.
And it comes down to the good old theory of things really get sped up when there's a disaster. So, things like COVID forced us to look at working from home a bit more seriously. What is that point of, I'm not going to call it singularity, but what is that milestone in our future that will sort of show people that, there is a place for AI, even though there is risk. And I just can't wait to see what that's going to be. Like, could we have found Osama bin Laden faster if we had facial recognition on satellite scanning everyone's face? Who knows? But there's going to be that one thing that's going to push people over.
Yeah, like we always say on this podcast, that one technology is the bridge to the next technology, right? So, it's hard to predict how that's going to go. Again, to bring up the Unabomber, like he thought that was the case, and it was inevitable that one day things will lead to complete chaos. I'm not on that. I'm not on that plane, whatever it is, whatever the euphemism is there. But yeah, I think we can, as long as we're aware of the potentials and the boundaries, and using, or just having a conversation about whether we should or not, rather than just stopping it full stop because of a lack of understanding. Let's just talk about it. I think, to me, this is nothing more than a Google search. This technology, and just because it means that it's public and then the police can use it, don't have these things public. That's the thing that we should be going for. Anyway, bit of a rant. I guess I'm a little bit passionate about this because I think the reporting is bad, and the media just makes it out to be something that it's not really.
Yeah, and I also want to dig into it a bit deeper here. I'm reading the New York Times article that you sent. I totally agree. I think this technology is a easy sort of target to hit because the guy's an ex-male model. When he first started, he had the most ridiculous apps. Like in 2015, he had an app called Trump Hair, where he would add Trump's hair to a person in the photo. And he's obviously quite a sensationalist, you know what I mean? He's going to want to capture attention somehow. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't wake up to the fact that this is going to get better, faster, and a lot more efficient, a lot quicker than we think, than we know. So yeah, I don't think this particular angle and this particular story of this particular company is a big story, but just to be aware that it's going to happen.
And I think you're going to hear a lot more about this guy. So 3 days ago, the UK and Australia have agreed to open a joint data privacy investigation into the company. The company that has a database of 3 billion photos, apparently. And yeah, I guess this is going to be an ongoing thing. He seems like a bit of an Elon Musk type of character, charismatic. He sort of seems smart, doesn't he? I mean, to get this far, I think he has to be. And yeah, like people were looking for a face against this kind of technology. I think he is it. He's probably the Zuckerberg of this world.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about how I share photos at the moment, and it's mostly through WhatsApp, which they tell us it's encrypted end to end, and I hope it is. And it's my main social network, and in it there are 10 people. So I think behavior will change.
It's kind of like Google Plus Circles, would you say?
It is, except encrypted, I hope.
Ooh.
And I think behaviors will change. I think people will get more savvy and people will share less and less. I'm even thinking about how to get out of Google Photos on my phone. Like, what can I use to back it up quickly, just like Google Photos, without giving away too much to any technology giant? And I don't know if I can. I don't think there's anything out there right now unless I figure something else out, like, putting it onto actually a physical hard drive or something. But that's something we could talk more in the show.
Yeah, I think that's probably a topic that we will cover going forward. I think just on that point, Kelvin, like I mean, I can't remember the name of that company, but like there was a startup that did something similar where they went out of business and I had to re-upload everything. So that's the danger in that. So I'm in that boat. I'm in that sort of trouble state where I'm kind of all in on Google. For some reason, Google escapes this type of scrutiny from the public, because I guess Google is kind of very useful, right? I mean, like technically, I do pay for the backup of the photos, but like for most people, this is a free service, and everything that you I don't know, if you think about it, people complain about losing photos and stuff, and I go, well, we'll just use Google Photos for like.
So we're
in 2020, that just seems like a little bit of a, well, is there an alternative there?
We're partly responsible for that, and it's a tough one because I'm looking at my Samsung S10 Plus, and I've got the version with half a terabyte in it, and almost 90 gigabytes is photos. So where am I going to upload 90 gigabytes and continuously do
Which
that?
device is that?
The Samsung, the Galaxy. So I've got
Okay.
half a terabyte. I've got 512 gigabytes of memory in this phone. And it's going to keep filling.
Well, Apple has 2 terabyte backup on iCloud for $449 a month.
Yeah, and would you trust Apple over Google and Google over blah and blah 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 and
or any company, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and
so we'll keep on exploring this going forward. We don't have the answers right now. Maybe it's like a pattern that we can sort of investigate over time.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's what we're here for. Going through all the things that are changing technology. So we hope you enjoyed episode 151 of the Naked Tech Podcast. As always, check us out on the website. That's nakedtechpodcast.com, where you'll find all 150 episodes. And don't forget to hit us up on any of the social networks. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to give us a rating where you can. That's Kelv out.
And Jeff out. Go Leeds.
They'll be fine.
No, don't say that.
Didn't they score like 4-0 or something?
Five goals. But do you know about the club Brentford?
Yes. What happened? I know of the club.
Well, they've won 7 in a row, and I think they're 4 points behind Leeds now.
Yeah, but
so
at the worst place you get a playoff.
Well, that's happened numerous times over the last 20 years, Kelvin. It just doesn't work out for us. This doesn't work out for us. Did you know Wayne Rooney still plays?
For Derby? Derby? Yeah, he's the coach as well, isn't he?
No, they've got some Brazilian. Brazilian? Is it Kaku? No, some former good player. Yeah, he's still like. I was watching actually Brentford and Derby last night, and they kept on saying Rooney this, Rooney that. I'm like, okay, maybe some relation. I wasn't quite watching. obviously.
Yeah.
And halftime was, it's Wayne Rooney.
She's got a brother.
Okay.
I don't think he's very good though. But
Mm.
well, on that note, Twitch.
Older brother.
This is the quickest sports show,
Oh, okay.
on the internet.
It's exciting times. Exciting times.